My brothers and sisters, oh my god, how I get a rise from saying that every time. Every time it's like I do these podcasts all the time. Maybe that will change. I started this project. I'm on it. I'm committed. I started it. However, at 9:30, not in the morning, but in the evening, which is way too late. It's well past my bedtime. I'm kind of I'm inching closer to midnight. The cortisol man is on fire. I've even pushed my desk onto the terrace. It's so damn hot and humid in the Caribbean. The sound quality, who cares? It's gonna dip. I'm outside. You're gonna hear Jimmy Cricket. Message to myself. I'm doing this in one take. I've got to get to bed. And I think I have to slow down. Am I speaking too quickly for all my friends in America? Anyway, without further ado, I think I have to welcome you to the what? To the quiet. I mean, quiet. I've got music blasting in the background. To the safe macro room, the room for the seekers of clear stories, those suspicious of noise. We're turning noise, are we? Is it alchemy? We're seeking to turn noise into knowledge. So the idea first. The economy, the American economy, is an enormous machine. Complicated, but not mystical. What did Elvis Costello once write? Every day I write the book, he sang. One of my favorite songs. I remember sending this girl. I kissed a girl, go figure, and I sent her the lyrics. You know, chapter 1, we didn't get along. Chapter 2, I fell in love with you, and she just was obsessed by chapter 1. Anyway, let's move on. Midnight approaches. Today was all about jobs, housing, and factories. I can do this. One take, I can do this. So we get data, and then we read the market's mood. It's like, yeah, I'm watching you, buddy. I want to see what you do with the noise. Well, that's what I call knowledge. But here at my desk, no code words. Just plain English, says the guy who just never writes in plain English. Anyway, I think I've got to give you a little what? I don't know. I'm going to explain a habit, a peeve of mine. I hate quoting in decimal points. I hate analysts that quote or talk to me in decimal points like it was up 0.4%. Nonsense. I prefer rounding to the nearest decimal point. So 0.4 in my book, that's flat, that's zero. And so on days like today, and I should have said like the BBC News, today is, I don't even know what today is. Today is the Monday, the 29th day of September. And we have to say that with a plethora of zeros, which I'm going to bore you with, one has to say that the American economy, despite its majesty, the readings are squarely in the neutral. If the American data were a colour, mauve would suffice. A pale purple somewhere between the ranges dictated by not violence. My mind's racing ahead. Violet, which is actually a very pretty name for a girl, and pink. That's your takeaway from the grand macro guru in the Caribbean. Maybe that's why I'm in St. Bart's. Too much sunshine. The American economy is carrying greyish undertones, lighter and dustier than lavender, less intense perhaps than magenta, which is really to say is all bollocks. Especially, what did we get today? Jobs. We had the ADP, which said private employers added 54,000 jobs in the month of September. And that beat the 40,000 guess. But you know what? I don't care. It's just noise, and it's the worst kind of noise. It's predictably noisy. Never mind the bollocks, some might say. Because all eyes will be on this Friday's abomination. Now, the financial press may have been full of moral outrage, but the trader in me says Trump, well, president, I think he was right to fire the head of the non-farm payrolls agency. Heads should have been rolling a long time ago. They had it coming. Friday the 1st in the month, had become Friday the freakin freak show. Preposterously oversized revisions. Now, a hot tip to the juniors out there. Please tell me you don't trade macro if you feel compelled to trade Freaky Friday. If you're trading Freaky Friday, if you're trading the non-farm payrolls, honey, you're in way over your head. Let me tell you something. Pros do not trade payrolls. I recall Central Park and Fall, how you tore your dress. No, I recall, focus, Hendry, focus. I recall how I would be collected in a Land Rover by my ex-wife when I was managing Live Money, and we'd go to the butcher's and I'd be sitting in the car when the non-farm payrolls would come out. I mean, we're talking about heavens, 2000 and I don't know, 2003, 2004. And I was on the way to my house in the countryside, the Cotswolds. My message is, I put myself in a car. I got myself out of the office. Freaky Friday. It's been freaky for the longest time. Pros, don't trade payrolls. Now, the futures for the interest rates, they're whispering roughly an 87% chance of a quarter point cut in the next meeting in October. 87% chance means is pretty damn assured, pretty damn baked in. If I wanted to tease at the macro level, when? What circumstances? Will it ever happen again? I'm referring to not a 50 basis point cut. We had that this time last year from the mysterious Fed gurus. I'm talking about 50 basis points in cuts in quick succession in the same month. Emergency meetings and all that. That kind of January 2008. I mean, presently, that feels fanciful. But I thought I'd throw it in just to make sure you're awake and not transfused or confused by the lavender call on the economy. Now, we got building and construction spending data for August. And wait for it, big tease, but it was flat. Yes, there was a zero rate of change on my preferred no decimal points index. Not a collapse, a pause. Mauve. Mauve? How do you say mauve, that colour? Am I pronouncing it right? Mauve. You know, somewhere between violet and pink. And the housing data, pending. You know, like when you've signed your name on the dotted line. Pending home sales. Guess what? It was flat in August. I think that's month over month. You won't hear this anywhere else. Elsewhere, they quote 0.4. An abomination. 4 decimal points. Who cares? But, you know, life goes on. You get a new job, maybe out of state. You got to move. But mortgage rates near that 7%. Whoa. Housing. There ain't much going on in housing. Gimme Shelter. Gimme Shelter. Where am I going? There's the Rolling Stones. Okay, I wrote that down for a reason. Jagger, not the car, but Mick said, Gimme Shelter is a metaphor for seeking refuge from chaos. It's about the need for safety from a world gone mad. Oh my God, Mick. He was singing 1969, but he could have been singing about today. Later on with the close of where markets closed, gold at 4,000. It was $35 in 1969 when Mick was singing Gimme Shelter. Anyway, I digress. Factories, let's clear the data. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, no, there was no massacre. The manufacturing index for Texas, it rose from -7 to -2. Again, we don't care. Still below zero, but maybe less pessimism. Texas is a monster. It's maybe 12% of all manufactured goods come from the state, and that's kind of why people look at it. It's very open, close to the Mexican border, and so you get a feel for tariffs et al. In terms of size, it's funny, it's only in terms of manufactured goods, it's only second to California, and yet no one spills beans or beers over the Californian index. I wonder why that is. And then just to complete the bore of Monday, the US government shutdown. Russia, where am I going? Russia deliberately cuts the power lines to the, I have no idea how you pronounce, Zaporizhia, Europe's largest nuclear plant. Imagine America's largest nuclear power plant, and the Russians had cut off the electricity. The thing could blow. A nuclear crisis. Is that a metaphor? Is that a bad metaphor? Almost certainly. But the US risks a temporary blackout on its spending grid over pride. So if we compare Zaporizhia with the proposed US government shutdown, one's a game of egos, the other's a gamble with catastrophe. I'll leave you to decide which is right. Suffice to say, today it was a question of eyes wide shut, staying on the central bank and staying on the non-movement in all risk assets. The only thing that really moved was you got like a 3% pop in Bitcoin, 112,000. Risk on for the brave, risk on for the bored, I presume. A quiver in the black mirror. So, and what was the other one? What else moved? Oil was down 4%, $63 a barrel. And I'm looking at that chart right now, and man, that feels heavy. Heavy crude, heavy oil. But you know, I said scoreboard. And I'm gonna give you all the moves rounded to the nearest full percentage point. So for the equity market, the big index, the S&P was flat. The Dow was flat. The Nasdaq was flat. See where I'm going? I don't know. A pause, a reflection. The 10-year finished, the 10-year yield, the treasuries, the prices, yields, unchanged. The price, flat. The dollar, unchanged. The price, flat. Gold, probably up a little bit, heading to 4,000. Gimme Shelter, Mick. Today, however, was about two idiosyncratic company stories. Let's start on the positive. Electronic Arts going private for 55 yards, $55 billion, the largest leveraged buyout on record. 7 times sales, 30 times EBITDA. Have they gone crazy? I don't think so. But it's notable. It really is kind of notable because A, the stock market told you it was going to happen. I keep saying, get closer, turn it off. Okay, just, I don't know. See if, I don't know. Come closer. I keep telling you this. Buy breakouts of consolidated price ranges. Now, I prefer indices, stock market indices, when they do this because there's less idiosyncratic risk. If you're going to do this with companies, buy lots of them, like buy 20, buy 30, buy stocks where they've been sideways for the longest time. And then some brave, crazy person is willing to pay the new 10-year high. Join them. For instance, NASDAQ, I think it was 2017. It finally exceeded the 2000 high. 17 years, no new high, and then boom. People that watch this, someone felt brave enough to be the guy or the lady that paid the new 17-year high. And what happened next? The tech stocks have surged. What is it? I think I'm going to approximate here to the nearest percentage, to the nearest full number. But tech stocks have risen 5 times since then. By breakouts and topics. The most comprehensive index in Japan is just, I'm just going to say it again, it's just broken clear. It's made a new 25-year high. It's exceeded the bubble highs from the last day of the 1980s. And indeed, it's mimicking the Dow. The Dow Jones took 25 years to overcome the challenge and the pity and the embarrassment of the highs of 1929. 1954, it broke out. And electronic arts has got form. It did this between 2005 and 2017. 12 years, went nowhere, bored you to death. And then the price doubled. And then consolidated again from the end of 2018 until like 3 months ago, like 3 or 4 months ago. Some smart people were emboldened to pay higher prices than it ever traded since 2018. So you had 2, maybe 3 months. Experts, analysts, gamers, I don't know who they were, but for the first time in that period over this summer, since 2018, the brave dared pay the new high price. Heroes, I call them, and they got a payday today. And I think that I would hang on. The story. Gaming. I'm kicking myself. I've been thinking about that. There's an essay in my files. The best profit machines that define the modern era. My last Substack I wrote about dopamine. The dopamine producers. The drug cartels of the 21st century. The tech companies. The easiest profit is selling dope. We're hooked. And that ain't gonna change. AI with memory is gonna crank it up even more. This is a dystopian version of the future. But if you think you're addicted now, just you wait, honey. And there's a scarcity of companies. In terms of pure play gaming stocks, 3, 4 companies. That French one's always a French one. It's on its ass. I don't know what they're doing. Even then, I'd be tempted to buy it. Buy them all. Big money wants to, for the first time, no one, I don't know why, but no one had the confidence to leverage, to put debt against dopamine earnings. I guess you don't see very many Colombian drug cartels with 20 yards of debt. So this is the first big one. I really have to wash my mouth out. And they're also, the debt is predicated on AI. This is the biggest debt deal ever. And it's kind of predicated on AI is going to cut costs and boost profits. And I'm thinking that's tenable. That is, listen to my voice. It sounds as if I'm hosing down on oxygen. Maybe I should. If I was another platform, if I was a Meta, Meta's running out of money with the data centers. If I was Amazon or Google, I guess I've got to call it Alphabet, I would step in. Microsoft acquired Activision. Was that 2022? Probably went through 23. They paid 8 times sales. But the way the stock closed, stock market's like, done deal. The Saudis and the Jared Kushners have got it. Let's see. Maybe it's just me. I am so in on dystopian tomorrows that I'd even own Flutter. Flutter, what a great name. What is a Flutter? A Flutter is a bet. What is the biggest pure play betting company? I think it's $55 billion? If I just got 55 on the brain, listed in America, came over from a UK listing. This is not investment advice. I am absolutely knackered. I must go to my bed. But I want to buy pure play dopamine factories. I'm thinking Spotify even. The music's got the dope. The gaming's got the dope. The betting's got the dope. And then you got the platforms. Anyway. And finally. Anyway, my dear. Let me call you friends, my dear friends. In a parallel universe far, far away. In private credit land. Where leverage has been piling up. In the shadows. Jesus, it's not even piling up. It's now piling up in the daylight with the Electronic Arts deal. We've got minuscule spreads. We got bravado. We got junk bonds on steroids. And when everyone is giddy, apparently the careful money raises an eyebrow. And yet, what do we get? We got a bloody great bankruptcy out of nowhere. And the careful money didn't see it. The careful money got hosed, as well as the uncareful money. Money got hosed on the bankruptcy of First Brands. Now, first things first, language is wonderful. And there's always something in language if you dig deep enough. First Brands, I thought to myself, okay, never heard of it. But and I said to the GPT, I was like, okay, if I'm an American household, what brand or like how do I engage? How do I make this company come alive? And apparently it's the company behind the bright orange Fram, F-R-A-M. It's an oil filter can. And its old marketing adage was, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Having filed for bankruptcy today or over the weekend, I guess First Brands are intending to pay you later, much later, if indeed at all. Why this matters? Well, of course it matters. It's gigantic. And it's like maybe 50 billion of hidden debt. I think that the debt iceberg may be 10 times greater than what the experts, the careful money, had estimated. And there was no whisper. I'm like, no one was telling me about this stock 6 months ago, 12 months ago. No whisper. Stories like this, they populate historically bad market turning points. In fact, huge debt equity deals. I mean, I've got to include the Electronic Arts with bank finance. We're talking about EMI and Citibank, which was, when was that? That was 2007, 2008. I was one of the big shareholders in EMI, and EMI was the worst music label company, worst managed companies in my opinion. And Guy Hans managed to buy it. He was buying it with money provided by Citibank. I mean, he was buying for so little. What a deal that'd have been. Guy, smart fella. Anyway, what happened? Banking crisis. So again, maybe we do have to think about 50 basis point cuts. We have to think about emergency rate cuts. Just not yet. But you have to be mindful when you see 5 billion of debt suddenly is unveiled as being 50 billion of debt, and it's like, oops, sorry, and we are bankrupt. So my parting lines to my acids, I've done it and it was too long again. I've got to stop rushing it. If I had more time, my spontaneity would be shorter. Please, I'm talking to myself, breathe like a human. Talk like a human. When it comes to markets and speculation, think like an owner. If you don't understand it, own it, own up to your ignorance, and certainly there's no bravado. Act only when the odds are kind. This was your acid breath on Monday, which has become the early moments of Tuesday. I hope, I won't see you, but I hope you will hear from me tomorrow. All I can say signing out is maybe. With joy in my heart, as I approach my bed, I wish you good night. Thank you. Hugh Hendry from St. Bart's.